Yes. Peace, 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 everybody. You know what time it is. It's Thursday, 7 p.m. I am your man, Mellow Man Ace. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Havana Lounge podcast. Thank you, everybody, for tapping in. We're going to bubble this shit out a little bit, let people come through, and take it all in from my man, Raheim, in a minute. I got my trusty right here, Ramon Valdez. He's my guy. We play a lot of golf together. He's also my life insurance man. Welcome to the show, my man. Thank you for joining me on this one. Guys, welcome to the Havana Lounge podcast. We are live and direct from Havana House Cigar Lounge in Alhambra, California, where we come and do the do. You feel me? Before I go any further, I want everybody to crush and step on the subscribe button and land heavy on the like button. Thank you for joining us wherever you're joining us from. I see my regulars are starting to tap in. Sign Butters, shout out to you out in New York City. And my man Tony Ricardo is on the check-in already. So I like to call them the twins, even though they're not twins. The brothers, they in here, Atomic, my man, Exposure, are in the house taking flicks and doing the goddamn thing. You feel me? Once again, it is Thursday, people. Welcome to the Havana Lounge podcast, sponsored by AB Chevy. If you need a dope Chevy, Corvette, Tahoe, Silverado, go see my man Justin at AB Chevy in Antelope Valley, people. He will set you up. Tell him I sent you, and get that whip nice and smooth. You feel me? I want to thank Naomi Garcia Perez for tapping in with us. I see the chat room is getting active, and I love when I see that. So thank you, everybody. Once again, it's Thursday. It's 7 p.m. people, so we're gonna get right into it. I wanna talk about this cigar that I'm about to light up throughout the show, and of course, this segment of the show is sponsored by AB Chevy. This is a Rocky Patel Vintage 99 out of Connecticut, and we're gonna fire it up. I got the cigar because right out of the humidor in the back, because I thought, looking at the light leaves here, that it might be a mild cigar, and that's kind of the lane that I'm in when it comes to cigars, right? So let me light this sucker up. Oh yeah, man. So it's good, brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. I got a round of golf in with our brother Damon Lee.
Yes, sir.
Played 18 over at Alhambra, so I wouldn't stray too far from what we have to do here at 7 o'clock. Did pretty good, swung at 82. So, a few less mistakes. I'm walking out of there with a 70, 78, 79.
All it takes is a few strokes.
Sometimes that's all it takes, my brother.
A couple less putts.
Couple less putts. I was on in 2 or 3 and on a par 5. On in 3 and 3 putted out. That was just terrible. But the greens were very slow today, folks. That's my word. Shout out to Cynthia Gonzalez joining us. Where you from, Cynthia? Let us know where you're from in the chat room. Keep it active, keep it popping, keep it alive, baby. It's a smooth cigar, bro.
Yeah.
This one and the Olivas.
Yes.
I'm fucking with them.
The Olivas are very good.
So let's get right into it a little bit, people. In hip hop news, we want to say R.I.P. Transcend well, smooth as your lyrical wordplay to our brother Bismarck Keef. This one really hit home for me, being a fan of the biz. Before I got into the music business, listening to records like Nobody Beats the Biz, Picking Boogers, and the other ones that you love. The one, especially the one where you got what I need. You know, that brother was a very creative brother, man, and he will be sorely missed. And I'm sure all of hip hop agrees to that right there, man. Very sad, very sad. His music will live on, so shout out to his legacy and his family. We send our condolences on, you know, from us to you, wherever you may be. Hopefully his transition can be a smooth one. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. So yeah, I'm getting notes handed to me here. But let's keep it moving. Of course, shout out to the Bismarck Keef. Rest in peace. The wine that I'm drinking tonight is the Havana Wines. It's yours truly. This one is the Mellow Moscato. And I gotta tell you, goddammit, this shit is smooth. If you haven't had that, you are tripping. So hit me up to get your bottle of my Mellow Moscato. The ladies seem to love it.
But not just the Moscato, you got the Merlot.
True.
You got the Pinot.
Got the Pinot Grigio.
Grigio.
The Padrino. Yes, indeed.
Try them all.
Try them all. Why not? Get them all. Shit. So with that said, man, this cigar is swimming. Rocky Patel. This is my first Rocky Patel. Shout out to you and your company, sir. You make a smooth, mean cigar. The aroma's fantastic. And the leaves are burning just ever so together. I'm loving it. Turning it over, man. Let's turn it over to some sports talk, yes?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Let's talk Olympic golf. There isn't a PGA Tour this week, but the Olympics have started, and it seems that Colin Morikawa is the only one really repping us out there. He's 3 under par.
Yes, you got
Who else is out there for us?
You got Colin Morikawa. Actually, Xander Schauffele just came up. He's 4 under.
Okay.
And then we got Patrick Reed.
Yeah, Patrick. Oh, move the ball, ass Patrick. Okay.
Yes. Actually, Colin just dropped the shot. They're actually playing right now. They're actually on the golf channel. That's the bad part of that is if you're into it, all the Olympic events are in the middle of the night right now.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be a night owl, you can stay up all night and watch the Olympics. But Olympic golf is on right now, and don't watch it yet. Don't leave this podcast.
Yeah,
Don't
watch it after.
Watch it afterwards. It'll be on until midnight. But yeah, we're getting represented by Xander Schauffele out of San Diego.
Yeah. Well, you love San Diego, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
He's also a Padre fan. And Patrick Reed and Colin Morikawa are doing their thing.
Are repping us.
Actually,
Now, who's that on top of the leaderboard from that other country?
we got Alex Noren. He's
Sweden?
Yes, Sweden. He's at 8 under.
Wow, he's really doing his thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. No doubt. Okay, well, thank you there, sir. Appreciate that. Let's talk about your favorite subject other than golf, baseball. Because your San Diego Padres are in 3rd place.
They're 6 back. They're 6 back.
They are 6 back. I saw that. They dropped another game since the last time we were here last week. It is the Giants 3 games over the Dodgers, and I believe the Pods are 6 back.
6 back.
Right, in the West. In the National League Central Division, it is still the Milwaukee Brewers playing it crazy out there. In the Midwest, with I believe it's the Cardinals in second place there. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it is about 6 back. The Brewers are doing a damn thing. So shout out to them. And the National League East is still the New York Mets, Philadelphia Phillies, and the Atlanta Braves. They got a tight little sandwich going on over there in the East. And so I'm looking forward to that when my man Ronald Acuna Jr. comes back. Mm-hmm. Kid is so nice. We want to say shout out to Tracy Jenkins, Derek Mallory, Randy Corral are all in the house on the check-in. Thank you guys. We appreciate you for tapping in once again this week. Moving on to the American League, of course, it's the Boston Red Sox, Tampa Bay Rays with my man, the Cuban kid in left field. You know, the one my dad likes? What's his name? You don't know him? The Cuban guy. All right, anyway, in the Central Division, the Yankees. The Yankees are in 3rd place, not looking good there. In the Central Division, it's the Chicago Cubans, still whipping ass on the Cleveland Indians, and they seem like they're running away with it.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Shout out to Pito Abreu, first base over there. Shout out to Yasmani Grandal. He saw it coming, you know what I mean? He saw it coming, and they're on top of shit over there. In the National League West, it's still the Houston Astros on top of the Oakland A's. I'm not used to saying the Astros in the American League.
I know. We grew up with the Astros being National League.
Yeah.
They didn't have trash cans till they got into the American League, right?
Yeah.
Or no? Yeah.
Hey, that's American. What is it? MLB. Bring back the Astros to the National League, man. For real. That's some bullshit. And while you're at it, bring back the Montreal Expos. I love that squad.
Yes.
Love those uniforms, man. Moving on to the, let's talk a little bit of football, yes? Because your boy, Aaron Rodgers, got the bag. He got the bag.
Okay.
He's staying in Green Bay.
Okay. That's good for them. He needs to stay there.
Yeah, he was acting like a little bitch for a long time, man. It's like, man, just say what you want and did it give it to you, don't stab it. Making all that little hoo-ha bullshit. I'm happy for you. Here's to you, homie. You got the bag. Now shut the fuck up and play some football. Also, a lot of players still tripping on the vaccine protocol.
Yes.
You heard about this? Well, there's a lot of players that ain't feeling that shit, you know, the mandatory vaccine thing.
Okay.
And, you know, they're going at the Players Association and the league real heavy. There's a lot of guys not with that shit.
They get.
What's your take on this?
They get paid big money. They got to protect themselves. The teams, all the teams are doing is trying to protect their investments. And you know, if they're putting out that kind of money, I'm going to put you in a bubble if I can. Make sure you don't get hurt, don't get sick.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, you make a great point. Because for me, it was like, okay, what's a matter of choice? And maybe you're a non-vaxxer, wookie wham. But you make a great point. These guys are millionaire dudes doing millionaire things. And these owners they want to protect their investments. You know what I mean?
Where they always come back, it's part of the business. It's a business.
Yes,
it is.
Yeah.
You know, and especially right now, you got training camp just started up. I was watching a couple of clips on training camp. It's packed with people there.
Yeah.
They're packed with people. And, you know, they don't know who's coming out there or what can be contacted by you know, fan that just unknowingly comes out to see their team, their favorite player, and these guys, they want to be around their fans, and it's really just got to protect themselves.
Facts. I like that, man. I like that you said that because you even put me on check on that because I was all about Last week I was on some. It's a player's choice and the whole thing. You know what I mean? I myself, I'm not gonna tell you my thing. You know what I mean? But you make a great point. It is a business. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, that's what they're playing for, right? They want to get the bag.
Well, who's paying the fans? And they want to see them out there.
Facts.
If they're down and out, they're not out there, and fans aren't seeing them.
True indeed, man. Okay, enough on that. I've been harping on that vaccine shit for a minute.
Yeah.
It's all good though. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, man. I see more people coming through. We appreciate you. Without you, there is no us. Havana Lounge podcast, baby. Right, live and direct from the Havana House in Alhambra, California. And we are drinking Havana Wines today.
And I see, is it Tony Hurtado?
Yeah.
San Diego, brother. There we go.
We are the Havana trilogy in this bitch. Shout out to San Diego and all my guys out there, my man Johnny Z. Shout out. Let's move on. I'm being told to keep moving. Let's talk basketball, dog. The Lakers.
Yes.
You hear what happened today?
Yes.
What happened today?
Big moves. They ended up acquiring Russell Westbrook, and they ended up giving up a few players there. They gave up Kyle Kuzma,
Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah, Pope.
I like that guy, man. I like him since he was with the Clippers.
And they gave up Pope and a number 22 pick in tonight's NBA draft.
I was watching a little bit of it before you got here today, and I'm not too familiar with anybody that chose today.
No,
but they got their bag, so shout out to them kids. You know what I mean? Man, that looks like we're up to speed, my man. We are up to speed with what's going on out here in the world of sports. And so I'd like to take this time to bring in the legend, the pioneer, the Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, give a loud welcome, round of applause, if you will, to the God, Raheim of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5.
Yo.
Fucking know the God in the house.
Peace. All right?
Peace,
What's good?
Peace to you, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm great, man. I'm. It's great to be alive.
True indeed. We done made it through some harsh ordeals here recently, and I'm glad to see that you're still with us, bro. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you
I
for having me.
appreciate you. You know, we've been friends for a long time, but you didn't have to do this. But thank you very much. Let's get right into it, Rob. Let's get right into it. Your fans want to know a lot, you know. First and foremost, where are you at these days, Rob? You in New York? You in Atlanta? You in Georgia?
Actually, I'm in Maplewood, New Jersey. It's about 35 minutes outside of New York. Yeah.
Okay, you in Jersey?
1 second. Yep. Hold on 1 second. I got you. I'm still with you.
You still don't see any of the. Oh, okay, it's on your end. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm about 35, 40 minutes outside of New York City, and it's pretty quiet on my block. You know, it's the hood ain't far from me, but I'm still very much in touch with my hip hop roots in the Bronx and all of that. I go to the Bronx, you know, occasionally and hang out and stuff with my friends, and you know, so yeah.
sure. You know, there's a lot I want to talk to you about, Rob. Number one, I want to say congratulations for being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, bro. That's just phenomenal.
Thank you.
You know, tell me what that felt like when you're on the podium and you're just like, wow, you looking out and you just a bunch of guys from the Bronx and you took this shit to the world, man, and now you're in this moment. What was that moment like?
I mean, honestly, it felt like the only thing I could think of to say at that moment, and the first thought that came to my mind was, I wish my mom was there to to share this moment with me, because like she was one of my biggest supporters. You know what I mean? Like the second hip hop jam that I emceed at, she told me that I couldn't go unless she went with me because I was on punishment. So I was like, so I came home with this flyer, and the jam before that one, I had stayed out like maybe till 4:30 in the morning, and I was like 14 years old. So she put it on me and then put me on punishment. So the next jam I went to, or the next jam I wanted to go to, she was like, nah, you can't go unless I go with you. So I was like, all right, no problem. I guess we going to this jam tonight and you my date. So me and my mom went to the jam, and she saw and heard what I did. And after she saw and heard what I did, she never sweat me about getting a job. She never did none. Like I was expelled from high school and all that. They literally escorted me to the door. Like my principal was like, Mr. Williams, can you please just not return here? And I was like, yeah, all right.
That's dope. Before I move on any further, I want to introduce you to my man right here. This Angel, Ramon Valdez, my guy, my golf buddy, partner here. We do a lot of shit together. He helps me out when I go to my shows. If I need a new lid, something, he gets it for me. Just a really great guy.
Yeah,
right?
I'm definitely. It's a pleasure to meet you, my brother, and I'm definitely a lid impresario myself. I got a few lids upstairs. I was gonna run upstairs and grab a couple for you so I could let you, check them out. But I didn't want to be off camera like that. But perhaps next time.
It's all good. It's all good. Thank you, brother.
Yep.
Hey, there's a lot to talk about, man. Tell me about. Let's take it back, because I want to make sure I bigged you up on the Hall of Fame thing first. But let's take it back to the old school, if you will.
All right.
What year did you start emceeing, rapping, and hanging out? I think you were with a different crew before you with the Furious Five, correct? What year did that all happen?
That's correct. Well, I started emceeing in 1978. All right. Like in the winter of 1978, I became an MC.
Wow.
And when I became an MC, initially I didn't hear about any MC groups or anything. Okay. So then maybe about 2 or 3 months into maybe the like January, February, like March of '78, I met a dude in my school, in my high school. His name is Theron Johnson. He later changed his name to Shaheem, and he was down with, or he's down with DST or DXT now. That did the scratches in Herbie Hancock's song "Rocket," right? And so we all went to Harry S. Truman High School together. And so Shaheem changed his name to Shaheem from Theron because I changed my name from Todd to Raheim, or Guy. Guy Todd Williams is my government name, and then I changed my name from that to Raheim as an MC. And so after I changed my name to Raheim, he changed his name to Shaheem, and he told me about a DJ that lived on his block named DJ Barron. And DJ Barron was down with a crew called the Brothers Disco. And DJ Barron had a partner named DJ Breakout. And he said that DJ Barron was looking for an MC. And so he asked me if I was interested in auditioning. So I said that I was. And so he told me that, thank you, Randy. He told me that they were having a battle at this particular time on this weekend, and that I should go to this community center in these projects called Boston Seacourt houses, which is in the North Bronx. And so I went to Boston Seacourt houses to this community center to this battle, and the Brothers Disco were battling another crew called the Little Brothers. And so I got on the mic and I performed, and then they had 3 other MCs and we performed all together. And then after the show was over, we had won the battle, and they told me that they wanted me to be a part of their group. So now I became a part of the Brothers Disco, and then our names as an MC group became the Funky Four, right? So the Funky Four, now, while I was going through that process, I began seeing flyers on my block for a crew named Grandmaster Flash, Disco B, and the 3 MCs. Keef Cowboy, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Melle Mel, and Kid Creole, right? And so I'd see, their flyers, and they seemed to, be getting really popular or whatever. And then maybe a few months into seeing their flyers like posted in different places around my neighborhood, then they changed their name to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 4. Okay, so they added another member, and his name was Mr. Ness. He later changed, he later changed his name to Scorpio. So then our manager, my group's manager, the Brothers Disco's manager, who was DJ Breakout's older brother, his name is Jazzy D, or Darnell. Darnell got together with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Four's manager at the time. His name is Ray Chandler, who ironically happens to be Dame Dash from Rockefeller's uncle. And he and Darnell, or Jazzy D, set up the battle between Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 4 and the Funky 4, and that was May 11th, 1979 at the Webster Avenue PAL on 183rd and Webster Avenue in the Bronx.
Now this was the Funky 4 before the plus one more.
Correct. And I didn't record any music as a member of the Funky 4, but I was like the leader of the group, and it was me, Sha Rock, the first female MC, my brother KK Rockwell, Keef, you know what I mean, and so we were the Funky.
Little Rodney C in the crew yet?
No, Little Rodney C came after I became a member of Grandmaster Flash's group.
Okay,
Little Rodney C.
Okay.
Yeah, Little Rodney C and Jazzy Jeff were added after I joined Grandmaster Flash's group.
Sure.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, man. Yeah, so we after the battle, May 11th, 1979 at the PAL on Webster Avenue in the Bronx.
What is the PAL for those of us that wasn't there?
Oh, I'm sorry. The PAL is the Police Athletic League. It's basically a gym. All right, it's like a gym. Basketball courts inside of a gym, and those were the first indoor spots where early hip hop jams happened. When I say jams, parties. Those were what we call parties, right? They were the jams. So there were two kinds of jams. There was outside jams, all right? The outdoor jams happened in the park, all right? Or block parties, right? And the indoor jams, so there were two types of jams going on at the time, indoor around that time, because disco was a popular genre of music as well. So you had legendary DJs like Grandmaster Flowers, rest in peace, DJ Hollywood, Eddie Chiba, Pete DJ Jones, and DJs like that who are influencing the discotheque or the nightclub scene, right? During the time when hip hop was emerging, when the hip hop culture was emerging, right? Yeah. But the difference between how let's say Pete DJ Jones or DJ Hollywood or Eddie Chiba or any of those legendary DJs, with all due respect, played their music, and how and who they catered to, and who our DJs, the hip hop DJs, catered to, was, first of all, they catered to a much more mature audience. And when I say much more, when you're like, when you're a teenager, you 14, 15, 16 years old, thank you very much. You have older brothers, sisters, older peers, and what have you. And so, they, a lot of your older brothers, they might be, your older sisters, they might be like, 1, 2, 3 years older than you. But as far as having your hangout card and the things that you're able to do at certain ages, their hangout card is probably more extensive than yours. They could probably go more places than you. They could probably hang out later than you. You know what I mean? So more than likely, they don't want you hanging out with them because you kind of cramping their style. You know what I mean? So that was how the disco movement looked at the dudes and the females from the hip hop movement. We were like their little brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Stop right there, because I'm seeing a parallel that I wanted to ask you about. Is that
Sure.
why y'all dressed so funky with the leather and the stuff early on in your career? Because you saw that with the disco people and that was kind of like the thing to do?
No, actually, that came during our transition after we began going on tour with like legendary R&B groups like Rick James and the Stone City Band and the Fatback Band and Bart Hayes and Confunction and Switch and Carl Carlton, and we got an opportunity to actually learn what it was to be performers and how to be entertainers. Because before that,
Atlantis and Nate Hughes, the brothers of Stone City Band, and my man, they were just Levi Ruffin, all these guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. Cameo, you know what I mean? After we would go on stage while we were on tour with them, we were opening for all of those guys at first. The Gap Band, we were opening for all of those guys at first, and then after we made a slight transition, little minor adjustments in our show because after opening for about maybe a month of shows for this production called Tiger Flowers. It was a guy named Jesse Bozeman And actually, what's my man's name? He's a boxing promoter. Damn, I can't think of his name at the moment, and he's major. What's the major black boxing promoter?
Don King?
No, not Don. After him, he's Floyd's promoter.
Oh yeah. Floyd Senior.
No. He's not related to Floyd though.
Oh, the Latino guy?
No, he's black.
He's black.
He used to own the Budweiser Superfest concerts.
Okay.
Yeah, damn, I can't think of his name.
It'll come back to you. It'll come back.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm getting old. But anyway, so we go on tour. We open for those groups for a minute, and after we would open the show, we would get shower off, get changed, go out in the audience, and sit in the audience and watch the rest of the concert. And we learned how to be entertainers. And then after a month of watching all of those groups perform and making minor adjustments to our shows, we came
back to the Bronx and start serving everybody, right?
Well, no,
okay.
because no, we would actually leveled up in our slots on tour with those groups, and they stopped having us be the opening act because by the time they would get on stage, the audience would be tired from like responding, like doing crowd response and all of that from the whole time we was on, because we burned the audience out. So, then after we got to that point, so that's what made us start dressing in the leather costumes and all of that, because we figured, to be on stage and perform in front of a live audience, to us, it was a privileged position to be in, one. And then the other position was that we didn't want the audience to perceive us as regular human beings. We wanted the audience to perceive us as larger than life. And so in order for the audience to perceive us as larger than life, we wanted to add theatrics to our performance, in that we can't wear our street clothes on the stage, because then we just regular street dudes. But if we wear costumes, it's like we stepped into a phone booth and now we changed into a superhero. You feel me?
True indeed.
You know what I mean? So that was the whole persona that we tried to project with that mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like the mentality on things.
Yeah.
Open the world up and said, nah, hold up, man. I gotta put on my Superman suit when I come out here.
Yeah. But then with all due respect to Run DMC, they were the antithesis of that, and brought it back to the hood. But the way that Run DMC dressed on stage was actually the way we dressed off stage. So you know what I mean? That was and then the other thing was the beats and stuff that Run DMC's songs, especially like the Raising Hell, and when LL used when he remixed this song Rock the Bells and used Mardi Gras by Bob James, the legendary jazz artist. All of those old break beats were indicative of the backdrop of the music that the first generation of MCs in hip hop culture rapped to, and ultimately became the tapes that circulated all around the Bronx and then to other boroughs of New York City that exploited them and brought about the awareness of the up and coming culture of rap music.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now you guys were very instrumental, and so were they. But I think the contrast, it worked well for the different eras, right?
No, I agree.
They didn't bite y'all, and you didn't bite. From what it
Correct.
seems, y'all didn't bite nobody either.
Right.
I think the name you were looking for was Butch Lewis.
No,
Al Haymon.
Al Haymon, damn it. There it is.
Al Haymon.
My man, Al Haymon.
All right.
He would absolutely not forgive me for not remembering his name, especially how many times he put us on tour. Yeah, Al Haymon.
Good.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens.
Please blame my heart, not my head, sir. Yeah. If you're watching this
broadcast. Let me say a
broadcast.
couple things here.
Yep.
I remember for me growing up, there was a guy in my city whose family owned a beauty salon shop, right? But
Yep.
after school, he would take us over to the back of the salon, and he had turntables. First time I ever saw turntables. Now this was in that same time period of 78, 79, and 80.
Okay.
And he always had these vinyls, these records that had the light blue with the Sugar Hill thing, with the Sugar Hill label.
Right.
Excuse me. And he would play all the stuff from that label. And that's when I first found out of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five and Sequence, the Mean Machine.
Right. Spoonie G.
And I just want to let you know that you really inspired guys like me to do the same thing, and I want to thank you for that. But not to sidetrack you or get away from that. Tell us, guys, you're in with Raheim, son of a queen. I see the chat room is really lit right now. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Chris Baca, Criminal Attack Music, Nation Zanaria, King Class is in the house. We want to thank all you guys for tapping in and keeping the chat room active. For my man Raheim, as he gets a little drink there. Guys, it is Thursday. You are tuned into the Havana Wines podcast. I am Mellow Man. This is Ramon Valdez. And that, look at the Grammy. Is that the Grammy shot?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's the big one, Elizabeth.
You're choking him up.
It's the big one, Elizabeth. Oh, boy.
Yeah, man. I had no idea, or we had no idea, this was going to be bestowed upon us. I got a call from my homie DJ Rip, who is a longtime friend of mine from Omaha, Nebraska, with the core DJ movement, and he's Grandmaster Flash's brand manager, and he called me and was like, "Yo, I got a call from the assistant to the president of the Grammys, and she said that he wants to talk to you." I said, "What?" Okay. So he was like, so he needs to know like what day and time, you'll be available for a phone call. So I gave him a day and time. And so sure enough, that day and time, my phone rang. I saw this unknown number, and I answered the phone, and it was him, and he was like, I just wanted to first, express my sincere apologies to you that you didn't receive this call from us sooner, because this is long overdue. But this is the president of the Grammys, and we want to acknowledge you guys and bestow you with a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Grammys. And I was like, Elizabeth.
This the big one, honey.
This the big one, honey. Right. So yeah, so it was
Well deserved, bro.
yeah, so it's a tremendous honor, and people do things or acknowledge things and other people in the time that they do. So I don't hold any you know, the delayed reaction against anybody or any organization with regards to, you know, acknowledgments where we're concerned. I just graciously accept, and you know, thank you very much. We just like a pimple on a supermodel's face. Just very happy to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Your accolades, man, and your whole thing goes back many years. You got the acknowledgments from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You got the Lifetime Achievement Grammy. What else you got back there, Rob? What else you got?
Well, I don't have any other awards at the moment. I'm working on, you know what I mean? I'm working on some more. So this is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame joint. You know what I mean? So
Never even seen that, Rob. Never seen one.
yeah, you bro, let me tell you, you've definitely planted your flag for our legendary West Coast hip hop artists, and salute to you and everyone who is considered a pioneer. Because see, you know, this is my whole take on the whole pioneer thing. You know, depending on the region that you come from and the era that you grew up in, you know, I may not necessarily be a pioneer for you. You know, whoever first exposed you to hip hop is a pioneer to you. You know what I mean? And maybe we're a pioneer to them. You feel me? But all in all, every region has its legends and its pioneers, and I acknowledge them all. And you know, so I salute every region of hip hop, of rap artists. See, and here's a jewel that not many people know. Rap and hip hop, they're not the same. See, rap is one facet of hip hop culture. So when you hear a radio station saying this is where hip hop lives, if they don't help to further um, promote the awareness of breakdancing, DJing, graffiti, and emceeing, then that's not where hip hop lives.
Can't be.
That's just right. They can't be about. That's not where hip hop lives. That's where rap music lives, because rap music is one facet of hip hop. You feel me?
Absolutely.
And so there is no hip hop music. There is rap music, and there's hip hop culture. So just to be specific.
Yeah. Respect to that. I feel the same way. Tell my listeners this, our watchers and whatnot, our viewers. What were those sessions like, man, at Sugar Hill? What were those sessions like? Did you guys know that like the message was gonna be the biggest shit ever, or like White Lines was gonna be so catchy and records like that?
Nah, we didn't have as a group at that time, we didn't have the foresight to know musically that those particular songs were, bordering on the cutting edge of, I guess, socially conscious rap music. We didn't realize that because to us at the time, what we were known for in the streets of the Bronx and then throughout the other boroughs of New York City, we were known for a party, for bringing a high energy party atmosphere to our music. And so our first songs, our first recordings, Freedom, when we got to Sugar Hill, our first recordings, Freedom, you know, Birthday Party, It's Nasty. Those songs were indicative of who we were as far as when we performed live. And so we tried to, you know, consistently make that live party energy translate to our recordings by making party music. And so when we were approached,
whose idea was it to do Showdown, where y'all battled Sugar Hill Gang on the record?
That was Sylvia Robinson's idea, and that was her, I guess, her way of simulating commercially a battle that she would hear tapes of, cassette tapes of, that dudes like my group and groups who evolved later, like the legendary Cold Crush Brothers. Grandmaster Caz and the Cold Crush Brothers formed as a group like in 1981, and you know my group was a group like in 1979. So we kind of like set the trend for MC groups, and then the Cold Crush Brothers came along after. Cold Crush Brothers, Fantastic Five, groups like that. But so she took Treacherous 3, and so she took the real battles, or the idea from the real battles from those tapes that existed.
And I gotta tell you, look, I love both groups, but it's always been my opinion that the Five got with Sugar Hill on that record, on Showdown. It was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah, well, the thing about that is, as far as MCs go, personally, you know, with all due respect to the Sugar Hill Gang's, you know, contribution to rap music and their place in rap music history, you know, right? They are legendary recording artists and early rap music pioneers with regards to recordings, right?
Yeah,
and so
recorded the very first hit rap record.
Right. And so, but with respect to being MCs in the street like we were, they didn't build up a following in the street like from the parks. And then when it got too cold outside in the parks to come see us in the parks, people came to the clubs to see us, or not the clubs, the gyms to see us, and they paid like the first flyers that I have of us performing. We did shows, and the admission price was like $2 or $3, or $3-4. You know what I mean? And so, and those parties would be in gyms, but they would be jam packed.
Are you guys Bronxdale, Bronx River?
Yeah, Bronx River Projects.
Area?
Exactly. Edenwald. So now I grew up in two places in the Bronx. I grew up in the South Bronx, and I grew up in the North Bronx. So
now, what's the difference? Because when you're from California or LA, you just think the Bronx is the Bronx, and it is what it is. But there's several housing projects within.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So the South Bronx was pretty much where Grandmaster Flash, Africa Bambaataa, Disco King Mario, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
DJ Kool Herc. Those were the DJs who and DJ Smokey. Okay. He's not really mentioned much, but DJ Smokey.
What about DJ D?
And DJ D, Cool DJ D, and Tyrone the Mixologist. Those were yes. They were DJs who were all pretty much in the South Bronx area.
South Bronx, okay.
Now DJ Kool Herc, he was on the southwest side of the Bronx. Okay. And so DJ Breakout and DJ Baron and the Brothers Disco were in the North Bronx. Okay. In Edenwald Projects. There was a crew called the Chaos Crew, and they were from like around the White Plains Road, Gun Hill Road area, and also in the North Bronx. There was TNT Disco. So now, disco music, going back to the two movements, disco music also was influential in hip hop culture, because some of the break beats that some of the disco DJs played and some of the hip hop DJs cut back and forth were break beats that we also spit to, right? But the difference between the disco culture and our culture was they catered to a more, a slightly older audience. They dressed differently. They wore slacks, they wore dress shoes, button-down shirts. We wore sneakers, jeans, you know what I mean, hoodies or denim jackets, and they did the hustle as far as their dances. They did the hustle, and we break danced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the difference between our two movements, and they shunned us. They looked at us condescendingly, and so they talked about us like they would call us like as far as the break dancers, when like the hustlers would refer to the dudes that did the hustlers. That did the hustle. They referred to break dancers as floor sweepers or floor moppers, because we got our clothes dirty if you was a b-boy. So they didn't really feel that, because the dudes that did the hustle, they were suave and they wore fly clothes, so they didn't get their clothes dirty doing the hustle. But we got dirty on the floor being b-boys. So we couldn't get in their jams. And so we had to create our own jams. So that was the reason why the hip hop movement became like the growing antithesis to disco, right? And because we couldn't get in their jams, and we created our own lane, and eventually our jams became bigger than theirs, and record company executives began hanging out at our jams, because the MCs from our jams were the MCs that they wanted to make the first recordings of. That's what killed disco. Yep.
So now, are we talking Bronx River, Bronx Dale, or South Bronx?
Okay, so Bronx River projects and Bronx Dale projects are within walking distance of one another. All right. And they are in the I would say not the really most southern jurisdiction of the Bronx, of the South Bronx, but they are in the South Bronx. Compared to Edenwald projects or Boston Secor projects or Co-op City or the Valley, which are all located in the North Bronx, right?
That's over by Yankee Stadium?
No, Yankee Stadium is the West Bronx. Okay, so that's where, the West Bronx, that's Yankee Stadium is like the Southwest Bronx. So that's the area where Kool Herc would mainly did his jams, and that's the area where he was like he was the most popular hip hop DJ, hands down, because he created the playlist. So that's why we recognize him as the father of hip hop, right?
Two two things
Sure.
right here, Rob. Who was the first DJ you ever saw or heard in a park?
In a park?
Anywhere. Let's just say anywhere.
Okay, so the first DJ that I saw and heard was Kool Herc, right?
The Herculoids.
Yeah, and the Herculoids. This was 1976, and it was also at the Webster Avenue PAL, the same gym where the Furious Four and the Funky Four battled in 1979.
Sure. Now this is during the time there's still a lot of gangs out on the street, yes?
Okay, so from 1973 to 1977, I don't think the other boroughs of New York City, like the other boroughs of New York City were bad, but they were nowhere near as bad in comparison as far as the gangs were concerned as the Bronx were. There were so many different gangs in the Bronx alone. And so you had to really be careful what blocks you walked through because different blocks represented different gangs.
Sure.
And so the Black Spades, ironically, just happened to be the biggest gang in all of New York. The Black Spades had gangs like an army had divisions, and the Black Spades had divisions.
You have many divisions.
And so, yes, and so there was an incident that took place in 1975 where one of the Black Spades named Solsky, rest in peace, was assassinated by one of the police precincts in the Bronx. And so after Solsky's death, many of the Black Spades dropped their flags or dropped their colors and stopped gangbanging, right? And so a few of the divisions from I think the first division, I'm not certain, don't quote me on this one because I was still a little dude and under the protection of a few of the OGs who lived in Bronx River. I'm not from Bronx River. I lived also within walking proximity of Bronx River. I lived in a projects or a housing development. It wasn't really a projects. It's a housing development called Lambert Houses, and the dudes from Bronx River would come over to Lambert Houses and rob everybody and everything moving.
Yo, shorty, when the sheep
Right.
shorty.
Exactly. They would take dudes' sheepskin and they would actually wear your sheepskin outside the building that you lived in, and you wouldn't say nothing to them, you know what I mean? Because they was a gang or whatever. So anyway,
Are you familiar with the Ghetto Brothers?
Oh, absolutely, sure. Yeah, that was the gang. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I don't know them personally, because during the time, you really stayed close within the proximity of your hood, and if you went into other hoods, you really needed to know somebody who was of influence who could keep the rest of that hood off your ass. You know what I mean? So with respect to Bronx River Projects and who protected me, so at first the dudes from the older branch of the Black Spades would come over and rob people from my hood, and then the younger Black
was this Guru in them?
No, this was Spider. He was my OG actually. Rest in peace. Money Mark, Crazy Mike, Crazy Phil,
Those guys, yeah.
Outlaw, There were so many. They would come over and rob everybody. And the only reason why they didn't rob me was because I was best friends with a dude named Davy Waters, rest in peace. And Davy Waters and his older brother, Wild Man Steve, had used to live in Bronx River Projects. So they were like protected because they used to live in Bronx River, but they moved to Lambert. And we were best friends. So when the baby spades would ride their bicycles over to Lambert to rob everybody, they didn't rob me because I was best friends with Davy. But instead of robbing me, they would herd me or son me and make me fix their flat tires, right? So I lived in a duplex apartment. Lambert Houses was a duplex apartment complex. So my bedroom was on the 5th floor, but the front door to get in my actual apartment was on the 4th floor. So they would take the elevator to the 5th floor with their flat tires and roll their bicycles to the last door on the right hand side of the hall and knock on my door and be like, "Yo, Todd, fix Dolan's flat, fix little D or Cecil's flat, or fix Mackey's flat." And so at first I'd be like, yo, like, fuck out of here. Like, I ain't fixing nobody's flat. Like, fuck, I look like flat fix, homie. So then it was like, yo, we will beat your ass, like, my nigga, like, we a gang. Like, you one little ass nigga. Like, so I was like, oh, all right, yeah, true indeed. You know what? All right, so I'm gonna be fixing flats for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I fixed they flats and I ain't get my ass beat. And so I did that shit for like 3 summers straight, right?
Yeah.
2 summers straight. So then the summer after the blackout of New York City, the blackout in New York City was absolutely the blackout in 1977 of New York City was, in my humble opinion, the incident that helped to spawn rap music culture. All right. To me, if it wasn't for the blackout in New York City in 1977, many of the crews that ultimately became, first they were down with gangs, and then when the gangs broke up and became crews that represented different blocks that were indicative of areas of New York City, and then broke down.
Now, why is this? Is this because during the blackout, equipment was easy to find?
Correct. Because of the looting, everyone got the same idea in the hood, at least in the Bronx in New York City, and everybody that didn't have equipment pre-blackout of 1977, you could be goddamn they had equipment after that. All right, so everybody and their mama was a DJ crew with
now,
2
was this
turntables.
also the summer of Sam?
Yes, it was. It was the summer of Sam, exactly. And so David Berkowitz, the mass murderer, was going around killing everything and everybody in the South Bronx or in the Bronx, and he worked right on the borderline between where the south, the East and the West Bronx meet, which is on a street that's named that's modeled after the Champs-Elysees in Paris, which is called the Grand Concourse. It's the longest street in the Bronx, the longest thoroughfare, and it separates the Bronx east from west. And so he worked at a post office, which was right on the Grand Concourse. David Berkowitz, the son of Sam, who Spike Lee made the Summer of Sam movie about. And yeah, and we were scared. We were scared to death. We were scared to death. But guess what?
I bet you what. We had
but
a
hip hop
similar
went
thing
on.
called the Hillside Strangler. And,
I'm sorry.
Richard Ramirez. What was his name?
Night Stalker.
The Night Stalker. We got a guy named the Night Stalker.
Okay.
And one day he ran into the wrong hood, and the hood got his ass and ate his ass up. It was crazy. Same kind of story, same kind of parallel. He was murking and clapping and doing things. Yeah.
Right.
Listen,
Man.
guys. You tapped into the Havana Lounge podcast. That is Raheim, the Almighty of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. If you guys have questions for the GOD, the OG, let us know, and we will get Lily in here to ask you a question for you. Just go ahead and shoot them out. I see the chat room is active. People love Raheim.
Love y'all back. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. And so, yeah, leave your question in the chat room. I know there's a lot of real school, true school people in the chat room tonight, and we appreciate you all. And we'll try to get all your questions out to Raheim. Rob, tell me this, and I know I'm kind of bouncing around a lot, but
nah, it's all good.
It's just so fascinating to finally, to be able to do the knowledge, dated back to how we were growing up 3,000 miles away, and still found that love and that passion for what y'all was doing to motivate us.
I want to tell you a very short story about something very ironic that happened to me during that time. So, my mom, rest in peace, her aunt, my aunt Mildred, was the stepmother of legendary basketball player Bill Russell, right? So she's married. She was married to his dad, Charlie Russell, and so my mom and Bill Russell grew up together, and they're cousins or whatever through marriage or whatever.
Crazy.
So cool. So
man, you heard it here first, people. I've never heard this story before.
So they lived in Berkeley, California, right off of San Pablo Boulevard, and so during that time, shortly before I made the transition, like right as soon as when I joined Grandmaster Flash's group, my mom took me and our family to Berkeley, California, and I spent that summer with my Aunt Mildred and my Uncle Charlie in Berkeley, California at their house, right? And so Bill Russell, he lived in Seattle at the time. So I didn't get to meet him. So anyway, so I'm staying at my Aunt Mildred's house, but I had a stack of flyers from the next jam that I was going to be doing as a new member of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five that nobody on the West Coast had ever heard of yet, because we hadn't yet made any recordings. And my mom just had let me start smoking weed by permission, because she found out that I smoked weed. And so I met some dudes that lived in Berkeley in the hood that sold me some bud, and I gave them these flyers, and they was like, so who are y'all and what do y'all do? And I tried to explain to them what we did, and I gave them these flyers, and then ironically, maybe about less than 6 months later, we came out with our first record. Yep. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me this. Who was the first MC you ever saw rock the house?
The first MC that I ever saw, well, the first MCs that I ever saw were the three MCs, Cowboy, Melle Mel, and Kid Creole. And I saw them at a high school in Harlem, Benjamin Franklin High School. The reason why I went to see them in the first place was because one of my homies in high school came to school and brought his boombox, and he had a cassette tape of Grandmaster Flash and the three MCs. And so, so Grandmaster Flash, his techniques on the turntables, I had never heard anything like what he did on two turntables prior to him doing it. And so when I heard it on a tape, because of what the trend was in the Bronx amongst aspiring DJs, it was called um, pause button. It was called making pause button tapes. So a pause button tape was basically, let's say my phone is a cassette tape. A cassette tape has two holes in right here, so that, excuse me, so that the spool of the machine that could wind the cassette or play the cassette can effectively do that, right? And so it has these two holes in it. And so a pause button tape is you put the tape inside of the machine and you put the record play on and you pause the button. And then if you want your tape to sound like a DJ is cutting the music on beat, you have to let go of the pause button or press the pause button down and let it up on the downbeat. And then your music will start on the one or on the downbeat. But if you don't press it on the, like that, if you don't do it like that, then, it won't happen on the downbeat. So that was the trending thing amongst DJs who didn't have two turntables at the time. So because of that, because of that reason, did you lose me? Oh, did you lose me? Oh, okay, I don't know. All right. So because of the fact that there were some people, some DJs who didn't have two turntables and a mixer pre 1977, the New York City blackout, aspiring DJs would make pause button tapes. So when I first heard Grandmaster Flash and the three MCs on a cassette tape, at first I thought Flash was a pause button DJ. But then I realized he would not only spin the record back and cut it back and forth, but he was also scratching back and forth. So as a result of, did you lose me?
No, we got you.
Oh, okay, cool. So as a result of me hearing what Grandmaster Flash actually did, I didn't particularly understand what he was doing when I heard what he was doing on two turntables on a cassette tape. So I needed to see it in person. So that's what made me compelled to have to go to Benjamin Franklin High School when I saw the flyer, and didn't ask my mom if I could go, and I got my ass whooped when I went there for staying out too late. And so that was the jam where I came home at 4:30 in the morning. And so I didn't get to go to my next jam until my mom told me I wasn't gonna go to my next jam until unless she came with me, right? Because I was on punishment. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So now, excuse me. So back to me fixing flats. So after the blackout, and after I heard the three MCs, and after I joined the Funky Four, so maybe the first few jams as a member of the Funky Four, we started getting popular in the North Bronx really, really fast. I mean, really fast, to the point where we became Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Four's greatest competition, and they were the top. They surpassed Kool Herc because of what Grandmaster Flash did on the turntables. No DJ before Grandmaster Flash did what Grandmaster Flash did on two turntables. All right. And so before Grandmaster Flash did that, MCs, they would rhyme to the beat, but you would say short rhymes. You didn't say like whole 16 bars, or you didn't write a whole song to a beat. Pre Grandmaster Flash's creation of his technique called the clock theory or the backspin. Okay.
I want to get into that. I want to get into that because I was going to ask you later on. I don't know how you're doing on time. How's your time tonight?
Nah, I'm wide open. I'm riding with you, bro.
I was going to ask you about that because I was watching a TV show called The Kidd Creole.
Yes,
and
that was
and I knew
loosely.
it had something to do with that. You were one of the guys who taught those kids the mannerisms. You know what I mean, of how to rock back in the day. Yes.
Yes, I actually got that opportunity through Grandmaster Flash. He was one of the associate producers, and then Curtis Blow was also an associate producer. Much respect, much love. Salute to my legendary brother Curtis Blow. They had Curtis Blow as one of the consultants and also one of the people who was supposed to help write the lyrics for the fictitious group who were the Get Down Brothers. But Curtis Blow really is not.
Hold on, Rob. Hold on.
Sure.
Can y'all see us in the chat room? Let us know. I think somebody's saying that we're having a technical difficulty. It hasn't been brought to my attention. Yeah, hopefully they are since they are gone. Can y'all see us? Yes, to get down. Okay, I think we're good. Rob.
Okay, so Curtis Blow is not a writer as far as a lyricist is concerned. So but he's a dope legendary artist, and one of the early pioneers of rap recordings. But as far as writing the lyrics, he's not that. So Grandmaster Flash and the producer of the Get Down, Baz Luhrmann, were looking for someone who understood the lyricists of that era. And so Grandmaster Flash called me and asked me if I would be interested in taking on the writing job. And so he said that they would give me a test ride first. And so I wrote the lyrics in the Get Down Brothers battle between the Get Down Brothers and the Notorious Three in their first battle scene in the Get Down.
Yeah.
And they liked it so much that they kept me on, and then they added Nas to the equation, and then Nas and I worked interdependently of one another, and we both co-wrote all of the lyrics for the Get Down.
Sure. That show was mad dope, man. I thought it was the dopest show on TV at that time. The fact that it didn't come back, I was let down by TV. And I don't think I've watched another program ever on TV if it wasn't a live sporting event. That's my word.
I was equally as disappointed as you were. Not just because it really helped me out financially, but also because I thought that notwithstanding the Hollywood embellishments, I thought that it was a loosely a pretty good loose interpretation of hip hop's beginnings. You know what I mean? And
I love the way they did that too, because I mean the way they were rocking it took me back to seeing y'all again. It really did. When they had that lesson when the DJ was learning,
right?
What you were explaining to us a little bit ago.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that clock theory. Yes. And so now I'm sorry to keep going back to this, but I'm gonna sum this story up. So yeah. So So the summer that I got down with Grandmaster Flash and we became the Furious Five, um, uh, uh, um, the 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 Baby Spades came the last time. No, I'm sorry, not with the Furious Five, with the Funky Four. The summer that the winter that I got down with the Brothers Disco and became a member of the Funky Four, and our popularity in the North Bronx got to be so great that we began to be Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Four's biggest rival, and our tapes began to saturate. So now I would attribute these cassette tapes as the first mixtapes or the prototype of the first mixtapes. All right. So now these mixtapes were what exposed other boroughs to early rap music or the early first generation of rap. Okay. So now the dudes from the Baby Spades come around my block, knock on my door with a bunch of flat bicycle tires for me to fix. But ironically, I just get down as a member of the Funky Four, and my name is ringing alarms, and everybody knows that there's a new member of this new dope MC group called the Funky Four, and his name is Rahiem, right? So, but they don't know that Rahiem and Todd, which is my middle name, are one and the same. So they knock on my door and they blast in a boombox with the Funky Four's tape on it. And so it just so happens that my part comes with me spitting on the tape, and I open my door and I'm smiling, and they like, yo, Todd, yo, Cecil and Little D got a flat tire, fix they flat. So I'm spitting my rhyme with myself as Rahiem on the tape, and they looking at me like I'm a Martian and shit, like, yo, what you doing? So they stopped the tape and like, yo, what you doing? You don't know nothing about this Brothers Disco Funky Four shit. And I'm like, what? What you talking about? That's me. They was like, that's you. Yo, shut up. You lying, yo. I was like, what you mean I'm lying? I was like, yo, that's me. They was like, yo, your name is Todd. I was like, yo, that's me. My name is Rahiem. They was like, what? Yo, you better not be lying to us. Yo, you better spit some Rahiem shit to us right now, or we gonna beat your ass. So I had to spit some Rahiem shit to them under pressure. So I'm, obviously, at the time, aspiring wannabe dope MCs had to have like notebooks full of rhymes, in which I did. So I had a few black and white composition notebooks filled with my new rhymes. So and I memorized them all. So I started spitting my new Rahiem rhymes to them, and then they was like, "Oh shit, word, yo, you Rahiem." I was like, yo, I told y'all dumbasses I'm in Rahiem. So they was like, yo, y'all giving a jam in like 2 weeks at the T Connection. Yo, what's up? We your security. I was like, all right, cool. Yo, after that, as Rahiem, I ain't never fixed another flat tire again, homie. and I had security.
Nice.
Word.
Nice. I like that story, man. I've never heard that. You've never told me that. Let's take a few questions. Yes, your people want to talk to you, Rob, and so we're gonna take a few questions. Yeah, can you get a little closer? Okay. Shout out to all the homies in the house here tonight at Havana House. Absolutely. Come on in. Rob, we're going to take some questions.
What's up, Rahiem?
What's up? Great, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're friends on Facebook.
Thank you for having me, Lily.
I finally get to meet you.
And thank you for walking me. Thank you for walking me through the technical gremlins that I was having.
Yes, that was me.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get this. Oh, I'm stuck on that chair. Hold on. Someone get that? My cord. Okay, so here, hold on. He's doing
Pardon me,
it.
I'm
What's
rolling
up,
up
everybody
a
in the
little
chat
jerk
room?
from the
How's
cataract.
everybody doing? I want to make sure I'm in the visuals here. Okay, so someone had a question and I forgot who it was, but I will go back and look for him. He had a question. He asked, how was it working with Grandmaster Flash?
Grandmaster Flash, working with Grandmaster Flash as a member of my group was an amazing experience. He's a perfectionist in everything that he does. Much love, much respect. Shout out to my favorite DJ, Grandmaster Flash. He was the DJ that I aspired to be an MC for. When I aspired to be an MC, he was the reason why I wanted to be an MC, because I always wanted to be one of his MCs. And even though the first time when I became a member of the Furious Five, it was actually unbeknownst to Grandmaster Flash. He really didn't know that I had joined the group because actually he and the Furious Four, for that summer that I joined and we became the Furious Five, they weren't working together for a short time. So when I became a member of the Furious Five, Grandmaster Flash didn't know, and he was spinning at a club called Harlem World, and I found out that he was going to be there, and I went. And when I saw him in the DJ booth, I went up to him and I told him that I was actually a member of the Furious Five, and he was like, "Whatever, I don't believe you." And I'm like, "Yo, man, I am. Like, I'm really one of your MCs." And he was like, "We'll see about that." And so, and then, later on, maybe about probably a month or so later, he realized that I actually was one of his MCs. But unbeknownst to a lot of people, I'm one of his favorite MCs. I'm actually his favorite MC besides Cowboy. Yeah.
So you just answered the question about how is it working with Grandmaster?
Nice.
Thank you for that. Yeah,
You're welcome. Thank you.
You'll do the replay.
What's another question?
And another question, okay, here it is. From Jose Serrano. Who was the first DJ you saw scratching?
Okay, so there's a myth that's an urban legend that's been going on for a long time that I would like to dispel, and and this is with all due respect to my legendary brother, Grand Wizard Theodore. Okay, so now Grand Wizard Theodore has been always noted since people have given a DJ recognition for creating scratching as being the creator of scratching, right? Okay, so now here it is. Grandmaster Flash,
We got a gym, folks.
Uh-oh.
We got
Right.
a gym here.
right. So now Grandmaster Flash and Grand Wizard Theodore, they used to be down with the same crew at one time called the L Brothers, right? The L Brothers was,
Brothers.
yes, the L Brothers was run by Grand Wizard Theodore's older brother, DJ Mean Gene, and his other brother, Cordial. Okay. And so Grandmaster Flash at one time lived in the same house with the Livingstons. He lived with the Livingstons. He grew up with them, right? He lived in their home, in their apartment. And so during Grandmaster Flash's invention of the backspin, um, he lived with Mean Gene and Cordial and Theodore, right? and he was a member of the L Brothers, and he practiced on Mean Gene's equipment, right?
Yeah.
Now, Theodore was a little boy at the time, and Theodore, if you know Theodore, if you're familiar with Theodore, in stature, Theodore is not tall. He is a short person. So as a kid, he was really short, and he was not tall enough to even reach the turntables. So, and Mean Gene would not allow Theodore to touch the turntables at the time. So Flash, whenever Flash would be practicing and Mean Gene and Cordio wasn't around, he would put a crate of records in front of the table for Theodore to stand on, so that Theodore could learn and practice his aspiring craft at being a DJ, right? Okay, so now Flash invented the clock theory or the backspin, right? So now, if you understand the mechanics and the scientifics of the art of DJing, right, then you know that it is virtually impossible to find the cue point of a record in order to cut it successfully on beat without rubbing the record back and forth first. You have to rub the record back and forth first in order to know that you are in fact at the precise cue point, so that you let the record go on time, so that you can cut the record in time with the record that is audible to the audience. All right, the record that you're about to cut in is inaudible to the audience. It's only audible to you, right, through your headphones. So you're about to cut this record in, but in order for you to know the cue point that you're supposed to be at, you have to rub the record back and forth. Rubbing the record back and forth is scratching the record, right? So when Flash created the backspin, he thereby created scratching. So it is virtually impossible that Grand Wizard Theodore created the backspin. That was also created by Grandmaster Flash, but he's not credited for doing that because of the fact that that wasn't his focus when he created the backspin, because he created the backspin in order to elongate or sustain the breakbeat in order for MCs to be able to spit long form rhymes. And then scratching was only used as a rhythmic highlight in between his manipulating the turntables back and forth, back spinning to stretch the beat so his MCs could spit. So Theodore, in technical terms, was the innovator of scratching, not the creator. Grandmaster Flash was the creator, and Theodore was the innovator of scratching because he took Grandmaster Flash's creation of the scratch to the next level by making it better. And then another legendary DJ by the name of my brother DJ Jazzy Jeff, DJ for, you know what I mean, my brother Big Willie Will Smith. He took it to the next level, and then my brother DJ Cash Money, another legendary Philadelphia DJ, and then my brother, legendary brother DJ Rock Raider, rest in peace, and then all of the legendary brothers and sisters who made the art or helped make the art of DJing become recognized, and DJs become recognized as turntablists. And excuse me, my legendary brother DST, who later changed his name to DXT, who did the scratching on the song "Rocket" with Herbie Hancock. Yes. Yep. Um, my brother DJ 45 King, who was one of the first DJ who I heard do the Transformer scratch. And then my brother DJ Jazzy Jeff, I heard, innovated. And there's just so many legendary DJs that I salute. Respect to the DJ. I have a bunch of DJs that I love to acknowledge who didn't necessarily make those contributions to DJ culture, but I acknowledge them for their contributions, their unique contributions, not none the same. DJ Kid Capri, my Aquarius brother, much love, salute to you for your unique contributions to DJ culture, DJ Qbert, you know what I mean?
The list goes on and on.
And the list goes on and on, you know what I mean? Word. Well, absolutely. DJ Battle Cat, you know what I mean? My brothers.
I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But I want to get to some more questions from the people, okay?
Sure, absolutely.
Because we can go on and on. And we can go DJ Aladdin,
absolutely. Joe Cooley, right? We were on tour. That's right. DJ Aladdin, Joe Cooley. Absolutely.
Grandmaster J.
Yep.
We can go on and on.
Absolutely.
We'll be here all night.
Okay.
Next question, Rob.
I didn't really look at it. You can see it up on the screen. It's Chris Baca. Ask Raheim, and I know he will tell you this. Did Keef Cowboy make up the term hip hop?
Yes. Yes, I will give authorship to Keef Cowboy for creating the term hip hop, although it was not intentionally on his part. Rest in peace. He didn't create the term hip hop making reference to the culture of hip hop. He created the term hip hop, or excuse me, he used the term hip hop as a reference to a cadence when people who are in the military and they are marching are calling cadence, and they say hip hop, all right? And the reason why he said that was because he was paying tribute to one of his homies who had just joined the military, and he was going away to boot camp. So he was giving him a shout out on the mic, and he said, to my homie so-and-so, and then he said hip hop, going to the arm. And so then after that, my legendary brother Lovebug Starsky, rest in peace, coined the phrase hip hop and used it in a rhyme. And so and then the media took it and coined the phrase hip hop and made reference to our culture as the hip hop culture.
Wow,
this is news to my ears. Really
Yes.
good question. Thank you for answering that.
You're welcome.
Chris Baca, that's a good question. I never even heard that.
Yep.
I didn't even know. Now I know. Came from a military reference.
Yes.
guys, we're running out of time for tonight's show. So if you, a question or two more, and I gotta.
I have a question.
What's your question?
My question is, Raheim, is like, can you tell the people, like, what does, aside from your musical day, that's probably part of your day, of course, but what does your day look like? What are other things that you like to do, hobbies that people might not know, or an extra side, I don't know, gig or creativity that you have going on? Like, can you give us a little insight of what, other than the Raheim that we know?
Well, okay, so I'm an aspiring filmmaker, actor. I've been taking short, small roles in independent films. I've done a few. There's a film called Demented Love, in which I play the role of a protected brother, a protective
I
brother.
saw a clip of that. You did a great job.
Yeah, thank you so much. To a woman who was in an abusive relationship, and I play an OG gangster called named Uncle Leo in a series called Murder and Music. Music and Murder, and they're both on Amazon Prime. I'm a do-it-yourselfer, and so there's a few things around my home where I build. You can't really see it that well. But there's a glass case right there that I have some candles sitting on top of that I actually built from purchasing little picture frame, dollar picture frames from Dollar Tree. And so I created it out of dollar picture frames, and I used some vases for the legs, and then I put a few more picture frames on top of it, so that it have a lid on top of it, and then I have
Crafty.
yeah, I'm pretty crafty. I'm into archery, so I have a compound bow and some arrows, and every opportunity I get, I go to a range or to a forest, and I don't believe in killing animals. I did my first and only hunting experience. I did shoot and kill a feral hog when I lived in Georgia, and it was a good experience to have one time. But I don't ever want to kill another animal, so I just want to practice shooting my bow and arrow without killing anything at specific targets, just so I can get better.
Man, you can take a nigga
You know,
out.
facts. You already. And a lot of our people of this persuasion. Um, I'm a historian, and y'all can look this up. And especially you Californians, especially if you were born and raised in California, the very word California comes from an older word, Califian. And yes, Califian are a people, and they are a black Native American people. All right. And so if your family are native to California, you are Califian and you are black Native American, in which the majority of so-called African American people in the United States are. But that's something, that's a whole nother conversation,
It
and
really is. It really is.
something for you to seriously reference your family's genealogy. But I am of Choctaw heritage, and no disrespect to my African brothers and sisters. And all black people are not from Africa. And the Aborigines of Australia have proved that. We're the first people to inhabit the planet Earth. So that means that we were all over the planet, not just Africa. Don't, wake up, like do the math. But if you just believe his story, then you'll never find out the truth of our story.
True indeed.
I mean, yeah.
We're gonna take one more question from the chat room.
Yeah.
I see one there. King Class. Can we get to that?
King Class, Raheim. King Class, Raheim. Were there Latinos in the beginning of hip hop culture or rap music?
Very few. As far as in the beginnings of rap music culture, pre recording industries acceptance, or even the first early rap recordings, even pre that, like when there were the first generation of MCs, there are a few Latino MCs that are of the first generation of MCs, and there are a few DJs that are of the first generation of DJs. There are
We're talking about guys like Prince, Whip, Mr. Shea.
Correct.
Ruby
In fact, correct. In fact, DJ Charlie Chase was the first. Right. DJ Charlie Chase was actually the first DJ to DJ for the Furious Five and not Grandmaster Flash.
Is that right?
Yeah, because we rehearsed with him during the summer when Flash and the Furious Four weren't working together, and I first joined the group and we became the Furious Five. And so Charlie Chase lived a few blocks from Lambert Houses, which is where I came from. And I used to walk up the block to Charlie Chase's apartment, and he had his speakers outside of the tenement building that he lived in. And me and the rest of the Furious Five would practice our routines with Charlie Chase while he DJ'd in front of his building. And the first jam that we did together was in Forest Houses Community Center, a projects where Fat Joe and my legendary brother Diamond D from the Digging in the Crates crew are from, and they were exposed to our music when we jammed in Forest Houses.
Right on. Thank you so much for that history right there. King Class, I hope you got your answer there, my man. Guys, I'm Mellow Man Ace. This is the Havana Lounge podcast inside, live and direct of the Havana House in Alhambra, California. This has been the legend, the pioneer, the god, the G.O.D., Raheim, the Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five. Guys, I'm so sorry that we have to cut it short.
We can do it again, bro.
I gotta pay the rent. I gotta pay the rent here.
Hey, you already. It's all good.
I'm kidding, but no, Rod, I just want to thank you so much for your time, bro. I just want to know that I want to let you know that we uplift you even higher than you already are, brother. We salute you. We love you, and I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Some of the stuff that you brought to the light here today is some of the first time that I hear some of these things. And so I want to thank you for the education lesson, dropping the knowledge, bringing the wisdom to add to the understanding. And so I really, salute. Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you all. Thank you everyone else for watching. Much love. Stay safe. No matter where you stand, what side of the fence you may be on with regards to the vaccine, pro or anti, protect yourself regardless. You need to, if you're pro-vaccine, you need to do all of the research necessary to inform yourself about informed consent if you haven't already been vaccinated, because it's a very, very important thing to know, because if you don't know, the vaccine is experimental, and so I don't know what that means for, with where you stand on it, but it is not FDA approved for long-term use. It is experimental. I myself am absolutely anti-vaccine. Me or no one that I love, if I can influence them not to take something that's experimental, then I would do so. But I would not discourage anyone. If you feel that that would protect you, then you have to do your due diligence. But I would also say that I also know people who have been vaccinated and have also contracted COVID. So, you know what I mean?
Enough respect on that.
Yep.
Rob, before you step off, you want to let the fans know where they can find you?
At the moment, you can find me on IG, and my tag is Raheim, RAHIEM, Grandmaster, _ Grandmaster _ Furious _ 5. Yeah, there we go. Excuse me.
No doubt.
I can't really.
It's been my complete honor and privilege, legend, man. Thank you so much for teaching me from afar of how to rock the house. It's come very handy in my life, in my career, 33 years now. I'm still rocking. Thanks to brothers like you. Thanks to brothers like Mr. Schick, Melle Mel, and the whole gang out there on the East, man. I gotta tell you, I've learned so much.
Can I just say this? Can I say this one last thing in closing? Our government is very well aware of how subtle the power of suggestion is, but how powerful it is, because advertisers spend billions of dollars every day in order to influence potential consumers that their products are needed by paying for commercial time to influence us that we need their products, right? And so they spend billions of dollars doing this. And so they know the power of advertising and how subtle it is, right? And so a company called Corrections Corporations of America, the largest independent facilitator of privately owned penitentiaries in this country, that have made deals with 48 states in this country to have a privately owned penitentiary erected in that respected state, based on the principle that they could maintain a 90% incarceration rate, made deals with record company executives back in the days, and they are responsible for the condition that rap music is in today, and the reason why we hear the kind of rap music every day on our radios that we hear. It's called programming. And if every day of your young impressionable life, all you hear from your favorite artists who are in your ear every day, more hours a day than your parent and your teacher, and they're telling you the route to their success is to stand on the corner and kill niggas and sell Molly, Percocet, you know what I mean? A percentage of the population who are most influenced by that become that. All right. And they're doing that to keep their prisons filled, because it's making them trillions of dollars. All right.
So indeed, if you control the mind, you control the action.
Yes. So understand that when you keep in mind the saying, you are what you eat. We are not only what we eat, or we are not only what we ingest physically, but we are always also what we ingest mentally. All right. So
These are the type of builds we have at our house, Dra, and you and I could go day and night with this. You know this.
all day.
I wanna thank you for dropping the jewels, bringing the gems to the table as well. Not just talking about yourself, but taking the time to shed light on serious matters such as this one. And I tip my hat off to you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. On that note, guys, I'm Mellow Man Ace. This has been Raheim, the son of a queen. True indeed, the living legend has been in the house with us, and I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. Guys, don't miss next week's show when my guest will be Betty D of Sweet Sensation.
Oh,
she
wow.
will be with us.
Oh,
And, you know, like I always say around this time, the great words of the great Curtis Mayfield. Don't forget that your dream is your only scheme, so keep on pushing and move on up. I'm Mellow Man Ace. This has been Havana Wines.
Yeah. Thank y'all. Peace.